Okay, thank you, Miss Wolf, for meeting with me
You're
today.
welcome.
Okay, so when I came in this morning, you were going over a math lesson, and before I give you my feedback, I'd like to know, how do you feel it went?
I liked how the kids interacted with the parent share, and then when I called each group to share an answer, the feedback the other groups gave I thought was positive, and their answers were good. So I think it went really well overall.
And I thought that part was good too, where they were having the interaction and the conversation about how they got their answers and sharing. Okay, so I have, as the observation begins, you call the scholars to sit in STAR, and I want to praise you because you were doing a really good job of reinforcing STAR, reinforcing 100%, keeping high expectations for
Thank
your
you.
classroom. You had distributed line paper and had given the scholars 4 problems to work on independently. And when I had came in, I felt like you were just finishing up what you had modeled with them, because you had wrapped up a problem and then you had told them, okay, I need you to start.
Yes, we had done the I do and the we do, and you came in right as we were starting the you do.
Okay. Okay, so then after that, I heard you, I heard that some of the scholars did not know what problem they were on.
I do remember that, yes.
And I saw you circulate, and I saw you kind of redirect. And then you called the scholars to stop. But then when you called them to stop, there were a couple kids that said, I'm not done yet. And then it was good because you did not engage, but then you had them sit back and start. And then you gave them instructions. You said, okay, I want you to share your responses with one another, and then we're going to share out loud. So then the scholars were interacting and sharing their different answers, and I saw again that you were circulating around, assisting scholars as needed.
Yep.
So then when you were done, you called the scholars to share out, and you had them respond using a 3-point rubric, which is one of our school-wide non-negotiables. So great job reinforcing that.
We're getting used to doing that.
Yeah, how is that going, like, with everything?
They are really falling into line, and they just do it automatically now.
That's a good job. Okay, so as the scholars responded, you embedded culturally relevant claps and beats to help with the engagement and to increase the speed.
They always enjoy that.
So that was a really good job. So for the key strengths, I had that you did an excellent job embedding time for collaboration. I really liked how you had the partner work. Tell me about your partners.
They are pretty much their partners that are next to them, but they're strategically placed to be able to work, people that work well together, or a high and a low that can support each other, such as the one that wasn't done yet is paired next to a scholar that is a higher performing math student to be, so then I said, well, have you and Nathaniel work on that together. So they're strategically placed so they can support each other.
Okay. Have you ever thought of any other ways to partner?
We, a couple of them are partnered equally also, just because they work well together and they're equal. So it's a mixture of a little bit of both.
Do they always work with the same partners, or do they switch it throughout the different lessons? Or?
Right now we're working with the same partners. When we go down for read alouds, that is a different partner. So read aloud's different than seat work partners.
So it's leverage based on their ability, based on skill. Okay. All right, so I put great job embedding time for collaboration. It was great to see scholars working together. And then again, my other thing that I was curious about was I noticed that your seating arrangement's different now.
Yes.
Because prior you had like multiple rows,
Yes.
and then now you have the kids in the
Clusters.
clusters. How is that working?
I like the clusters because it gives you the ability to do team points, and that's a different motivation. I thought part of the way through the year I'd switch it up and something different for them. Luckily we have empty seats that we can strategically place them, even though they're a cluster, they're not necessarily next to each other. So it works well. We've moved a couple adjustments to get a better teamwork, but it's just the first week so far. The first 3 days it's gone well.
Have you, like, what do you do in regards to transition? Like, when you're transitioning from the carpet, do you guys, like, transition, like, do you call them in groups, or how do you do that?
Yes, in rows, it worked very well. They knew that row went straight to the row that was lined up with the carpet row and the seat row. Now they can still transition to their carpet row just as effectively. So when I call the table that is sitting quietly, they transition in a straight line and sit down straight line in the row on the carpet. So it's worked just as smoothly as the rows the tables have worked just as smoothly as the rows to go directly in line to that row on the carpet.
Okay. Have you thought about maybe leveraging your groups for points, like for table points and things like that?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we're doing table points.
Okay. And so for scoreboard, instead of teacher versus student, maybe.
No, it's table. Yeah.
And that's good because that holds the kids accountable with each other. And okay. So I thought for the most part the lesson was good. I have a couple suggestions for you that I think might make it better.
Sure.
The first thing that I want you to work on is I want you to work on having a clear what to do.
Yes.
So it was evident that you were pre-planned and that you had modeled and that you were explicit in what you wanted because you were you told them when I was in there. You said this is what I need you to do. Da, 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 da. But what I'd like to see next time is maybe being more explicit. So you might want to have a scholar repeat back to check for
I
understanding.
like that. We can do that.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to practice.
Sure.
So I'd like you to go ahead and give me some type of multiple step direction,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna repeat back. I'm gonna pretend like I'm a scholar and repeat back the direction.
Sure. Okay. All right. On page 218, you're going to work independently on problems 7 through 11. When you are finished, put your paper in the corner of your desk and get your book out to your read aloud book out, or your read aloud book out to read independently. Mrs. Beavers, can you repeat the directions for me?
Turn to page 210.
Who can help her with that? All right, Savannah.
Turn to page 218.
Yes,
and
Mrs. Beavers. What page are we going to turn to?
218.
Yes.
And then we have to do 4 problems.
Problems 7 through 11. What problems are you working on, Mrs. Beavers?
7 through 11.
Yes.
So page 218, problems 7 through 11.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you do when you are finished with your math problems?
Take out a book and read.
What are you going to do with your paper first?
Put my name on it and look it over.
Yes, always put your name on it and always look it over and put it on the corner of your desk. Where's the paper going to go when you are finished?
On the corner of my desk.
Very good.
Okay. So just having them repeat like that, and then
Yes.
I think what else might be helpful for your visual learners is maybe having the multiple, because some kids, and even for me, to be honest, like to remember all that
Yes.
is difficult. So it might make sense to write it out
Sure, we can write it on the board.
so that there's a reference, and then but I would still have the scholars repeat too, because I think that'll be helpful for you.
That's my fault. Well, normally we do have it up on the board, and then they have it also on the BBC, so we have 2 spots for them to reference. Today, I didn't write it up there, but I'll make sure we do, but I really like having them repeat it out loud. That'd be great.
I also think it would be beneficial because you did have scholars that were that when you said stop, they were like, oh man, I didn't know how to stop. So I think it would be beneficial to have an online timer up and give
Very
them
good.
a time limit. So say, okay, you have, I don't know, 5 minutes to complete this. Ready, go, and set
Very
the
good.
timer. It might also be beneficial to not just do that, but maybe set a timer and do 1 problem at a time.
Okay. One
Just to
problem,
kind
the review, 1 problem. Even for a UDO, that's appropriate to do 1 problem at a time for a UDO section.
Well, if they're working with a partner
Okay.
to discuss the different problems, I think
Sure.
I think the independent work, yes, let them do independently, but
When we're doing the partner work, 1 problem, share, discuss, next problem, share and
just
discuss.
to kind of keep the flow and to keep it moving, I think that would make it more engaging.
Very good. That'll work. Great. I like that online timer. Just now that we have our smart boards.
All right, so next time I come in your classroom, I'd like to see a clear what to do. Tell me some different ways you could do it.
We're going to do the repeat the directions, scholars repeat the directions, and written up on the board, and then it's also reflected on the BBC.
Okay, and then also to have them set an online timer.
Yeah, online timer, so that way they know how much time they have and visually can look up and check their time. So.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for meeting with me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the pointers. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Bye.